Well, hello there, you beautiful, beautiful people. I hope you are all well. It is Thursday still. Yes, Thursday. And I hope you're having a fabulous day. So look, there has been some new documents come out in the Idaho 4 case. And I thought to myself, what do I do? Do I go through these docs and read them all to you guys? And I thought, no. Firstly, I think if I did that, you would probably want to throw yourself off of the nearest roof, and so would I. And for those of you who do want to have them read to you, then please do head over to the sexy beast that is Lawyer You Know and have his dulcet tones do it for you, because he's better. What I'm going to do is summarize. Not like summer eyes, summarize. So let's get into it. So yes, so it would appear that the defence have got a little bit frustrated with going after the prosecution and asking for stuff and getting told, no, you're not having it, no, you're not having it, no, you're not having it. And this sort of to and fro situation. So they have now got in their own professional and looked again at the DNA, and they've put forward another affidavit to say, look, we actually do need this DNA information, and we need it because it's part of our process to enable our defendant, our client, a fair trial, to make sure that we dot our I's, cross our T's. We need this information. And it goes on to give you a professional talking about how DNA works, how the collection of this data, the processing of this data, how it works, and how that can go wrong, and the procedures that need to be followed, how there can be issues with that procedure, and showing the importance that every single thing is followed to the letter. And it kind of concludes at the end of that document by saying, look, I think that what we've basically said here is everything that someone would need to know to prove that I, as a professional, know what I'm talking about. And I think that by explaining how this entire procedure works and the things that can go wrong, and, you know, the ins and outs of it from start to finish, that it's quite clear that it's very important to ascertain whether every single thing during that process was done to the letter. Because if it wasn't, if there was things done that went against rules that are set in place to protect that procedure and protect those that are involved in giving their data, then obviously that would potentially lead to legal implications in the case itself. Could lead to a dismissal of the case. It could lead to various nuances in the legal procedure that ultimately could mean that someone could walk free when technically they've done it, or someone could get prosecuted and ultimately killed and they haven't done it. So look, that's in a nutshell what this is about. This is just about the defence, yet again, going for the DNA, using their own specialist to play the game, play their side. Because at the moment, this is what this situation is. It's a game. It's defence versus prosecution. Defence wanting information, prosecution trying to withhold it. And it's getting a little bit laborious now, but look, it is what it is. And my thought process in this is, look, the more that this kind of stuff goes on, the more that it kind of proves to me that Bryan Kohberger likely doesn't have an easy escape route on this. We talk about an ace in the hole with regards to the prosecution. Do they know something? Is this a potential for a trial by ambush? Do they have something that definitively concludes that Bryan Kohberger is indeed guilty? The alibi stuff has just come out, which has forced a lot of people to jump ship and feel that Bryan Kohberger certainly is guilty of this crime because he simply doesn't have an alibi. And I'm trying to kind of explain that not doing a crime doesn't automatically come with a substantiated alibi. And it is sometimes the only choice that someone has in the event that they just simply don't have an alibi. They don't have something they can come forward and prove that puts them somewhere else. So they have to attack the intricacies of the case itself. They have to try to leverage technicalities in their favour. Now, does that also mean that someone could be guilty and the only option they have is to attack technicalities? Certainly. So I don't think this shows that we're any further forward or any further back. It just, to me, as someone who is firmly set in innocent until proven guilty, that this just means that the defence is at least doing every single thing that they can do for their client in a situation that potentially finds him facing the death penalty, and the likelihood is he doesn't have an easy escape route. Now, we do have this situation in the background still, which I find interesting, with the potential exculpatory evidence coming from Bethany Funk, but ultimately I believe that the defence are perhaps feeling that there may be an issue with regards to trying to call her forward. Who knows? I don't know, but only time will tell. I think many of the questions with which we all have, it is going to be the court procedure itself which answers them. I'm still on the fence. I still haven't seen enough information for me to be leaning towards one way or another. I am still steadfast in the middle. I feel that there is a lot of information that does need some explanations from the defence team, but ultimately the burden of proof lies with the prosecution. They have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Bryan Kohberger did indeed not only drive around Moscow, Idaho, or that there was a knife sheath that did have his DNA on it, albeit touch DNA. It has to be beyond a reasonable doubt that this knife sheath proves that he was in this property on this night and he did this crime. The knife sheath on its own I don't feel is enough, so I do hope that they have a lot more evidence to support what they're trying to say, because currently what we've seen, in my opinion, from the general public's perspective, is nothing more than evidence that could be argued either way. I don't feel that it's strong enough to prove definitively that Bryan Kohberger entered this property on his own, committed this crime, and there is nothing more to be said. Let me know down below where you are. Like I say, if you do want a heavier version of that document for someone to read it, please do head over to Peter. Gorgeous man, beautiful voice, and he'll do you a solid. But until the next time, I'll catch you in the next one.